The FIA has banned this loophole. In the Hungarian Grand Prix, Aston Martin shocked Formula 1 by figuring out a way to design a part that the FIA had previously prohibited. Nearly all of the teams on the grid declared they would copy it. Even Aston Martin said that they anticipated seeing copies of it. But now that the FIA has banned Aston Martin's design, anyone who tried to imitate it will have wasted their time and money. However, what was the flaw that Aston Martin discovered? Why then has the FIA decided to outlaw it? Watch this video to get to know all about it. The 2022 technical regulations for Formula 1 have been criticised as being unnecessarily rigid as the rulemakers attempt to limit specific innovations to achieve their larger objectives. They wanted to make sure that the sport was more fascinating to watch while raising the level of competition. This required the FIA to clean up the foul-smelling exhaust from Formula 1 cars for the cars to race longer and closer together. The new technical standards have succeeded in accomplishing this, but it hasn't stopped the teams from looking for a means to circumvent the regulations to make their vehicles as fast as possible. While the teams have mainly complied with the requirements, some novel strategies are still being used, such as Mercedes side pods, as the inventive designers exercise their creative muscles and interpret the rules in their own particular ways. When it unveiled a technically intriguing rear wing design shortly before the summer break, Aston Martin joined the discussion in this regard. The aim of the regulations for the rolled over transition between the principal plane and flaps is violated by the redesigned end plate design. A 2021 F1 car rear wing reassembles a box with acute right angles where the horizontal component of the wing attaches to the supports, as can be seen if you look at one. This was altered in 2022 to become a much more comprehensive link. The strategy was chosen for both aerodynamic and aesthetic reasons, with the design not only intended to be more visually appealing than the design for 2021, but also one of the measures intending to help reduce complexity and alter the weight profile of a lead car for a trailing car. To follow more closely, the new Aston Martin wing debuted at the Hungarian Grand Prix resembles the 2021 wing designs considerably more than the 2022 wing designs. The top edge's inward roll, which resembles an apostrophe, was initially optimised to fit the designer's overall goals, and the numerous radius and continuity constraints. It was clear that introducing such a complex design would take time because the team had to make the contentious wing function as intended and endure repeated inspections by the FIA to ensure it complied with regulations, as explained by the team's performance director Tom McAuliffe. According to him, it took several months for the initial contact to the FIA's full acceptance. Once you have received approval, we will design and produce it. After submitting all of the drawings before race weekend, the FIA must again confirm they are still satisfied with it, which they were before you can put it on the car. Naturally, Aston Martin had to demonstrate that they located a gap in the rules and weren't just completely breaking them to sneak it past the FIA through the design phase. Proving to the FIA that the new wing didn't cause aero problems for the vehicles behind was a necessary step in process. McCullough affirmed that the procedure included evaluating the weight characteristics of the new design. The FIA would have examined the team's simulations and is equipped to do its study to collaborate any results. But why is the layout itself so appealing? The goal of the design is as a whole to keep the high pressure on top of the wing for a longer period by assuring less transverse airflow and more downforce. It's difficult to do it efficiently, but Aston Martin claims to have succeeded well enough to plan to adopt this geometry for their whole series of rear wings. Cost caps that permit. Although the new design was legal, there was always a chance that the FIA might tighten the regulations to prevent similar designs from becoming commonplace due to worries that it would undermine the regulation's goal of enhancing racing. The weight characteristics would be compromised if all teams could use and improve these end plates. After some discussion in the F1 Technical Advisor Group, an agreement was reached that the design will be prohibited starting in 2023, according to Aston Martin's Chief Technology Officer Andy Green. Ross Brawn was taken aback by how few exceptions the team had been able to find to the rules when we first saw the new vehicles at the opening practice of the season. The only distinctive design was the Mercedes side pods, which remained so until the Hungarian debut of the Aston Martin wing. The FIA acknowledged that it was an unexpected design decision and that talks about changing the rules to forbid its use starting in 2023 are still ongoing. According to a statement from the governing body, the end plate design was not anticipated for the 2022 regulations. The FIA is presently talking with the teams about potential changes for 23. Next year, it's likely that most teams, if not all, would have used this design at least for a high downforce rear wing assemblies. Although Aston Martin may still utilise it through to the end of the year, cost cap restrictions make it unlikely that competitors would produce their version. However, given the limited shelf life, this weekend in Singapore might be the ideal time to do it. It may seem harsh to ban a perfectly legal design after a team has barely had a chance to utilise it for half the season, but doing so would go against the regulation's intended purposes. The goal of the rules and the need for the FIA to make sure that the vehicles developed would be enabled to cars to race closely are both mentioned in the Article 3.2.1 of the technical regulations. Aston Martin will be looking forward to making the most of their wing for the remainder of the season before it's banned in 2023. It's primarily to highlight the intention and to give us the position to discuss things openly and clearly with the teams and the F1 Commission if we feel things have gone astray for some reason. The new wing will be especially helpful in Singapore. High downforce allows drivers to enter corners with greater speed and exit them with even more speed on a narrow, winding track like Marina Bay. However, despite the new wing, Aston Martin won't be closing shop in 2022. Even though they claimed a small team of engineers still working on the vehicle this year, they could still compete a few last-minute improvements. Dan Fallows, the team's technical director, indicated that more new parts would be added to the AMR22 to boost the vehicle's performance during the challenging season for the former Racing Point team. He said that we have some new elements for Singapore as part of a mission to lighten the car and increase aerodynamic performance. Unlike last year, when groundbreaking regulations for 2022 were expected, the rules stayed essentially unchanged for the upcoming season. Therefore, advancements made in the later part of the year may still be helpful in the design for the following year. According to Fellows, it's about making the car faster, but it's also about the car for the following year. It's crucial to continually add new features to the automobile and not miss any chances to try them out on the racetrack. You can place as much thrust in your wind tunnel and CFD tools as you want, but the true detriment is what occurs. Aston Martin must make improvements elsewhere with a new wing band for the following year. Since he will be working for the club starting in January, Fernando Alonso will also closely monitor the team's success throughout the rest of the year. He is eager to assist them in reaching new heights. Now that's all for the video. We'll see you back soon with another one. Don't forget to like and share, and we'll see you soon.